Sentencing hearing for the 2018 shooting death of a young man. The accused has pleaded guilty, but not to murder, making the case for inclusive hiring practices.
We have to work twice as hard or 3 times as hard as the next person.
And blooming with bow ties.
He had to fit into a very conservative business role, but he was secretly a bit of a rebel.
Why a Victoria man is tying up his tree.
CTV News with Stephanie Mazzotti.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us on TV and radio. Stephanie is off this week. I'm Michelle Maluske. A Windsor man has been sentenced to time already served for a 2018 murder. Darian Moffat was just 18 years old when he was shot and killed in September 2018. It happened at a home on Hall Avenue. The accused, Raul Wezo, now 25 years old, pleaded guilty last week to conspiracy to commit an assault. Late this afternoon, he was sentenced by a Windsor judge. This is a developing story. Our Robert Lothian is at the courthouse, and he will update our website shortly. And he'll join me here tonight on CTV News at 11. Meantime, a Windsor jury is now deliberating the fate of Brian Marbury of Michigan. He has pleaded not guilty to the May 2023 death of his estranged wife, Sarah Boulay. Marbury has already pleaded guilty to causing an indignity to a human body. A jury of 7 women and 5 men must come to a unanimous verdict beyond a reasonable doubt. In other news tonight, renewed hope for the fate of Amherstburg's Crown Royal bottling plant. At a news conference yesterday, Premier Doug Ford was asked if he has spoken with Diageo, parent company of Crown Royal. Ford admitted no, he has yet to speak with the global spirits maker. However, the Premier told the media there are 3 new companies interested in taking over the factory and its workforce. As we've been reporting, the company announced in late August their intention to close the factory and shift production to the United States.
It'd be great news if we could land one of these companies to take it over. But as sure as I'm sitting here, that Crown Royal is coming off those shelves the second the last person walks out of the area.
The Prime Minister is back in Ottawa empty-handed and without a new trade deal after a meeting with the U.S. President. Today, Mark Carney faced tough questions in the House of Commons about that trip to Washington. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
Prime Minister Mark Carney is back in Ottawa without a deal on tariffs. However, CTV News can confirm the Keystone XL pipeline was part of yesterday's discussion at the White House.
Prime Minister, did you and Mr. Trump agree to revive the Keystone XL pipeline?
Very good discussions on a wide range of issues, and I look forward to talking to Parliament.
A source with knowledge of the discussions in the Oval Office yesterday confirms reviving the Keystone XL pipeline was raised between the 2 leaders. The extension would bring Alberta crude into the U.S. It was in the context of more energy cooperation between the 2 countries, but was also linked to relief on steel and aluminum tariffs.
Certainly, it could be another one of the levers that increases North American energy security, and so it certainly warrants exploring.
South Bow is now the proponent of the project, and while the Canadian company isn't privy to conversations between the governments, a spokesperson tells CTV News, quote, South Bow is supportive of efforts to find solutions that increase the transportation of Canadian crude oil. While a pipeline may be possible, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is dismissing the prospect of an auto deal with Canada. Sources say at a Eurasia Group summit, Lutnick said the Americans could continue buying auto parts from Canada, but that's about it.
Auto pack's been around since the 1960s. You can't unscramble an egg, you have to make the omelet larger.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. On Parliament Hill, Opposition Leader Pierre Poilievre called out the Prime Minister for not getting a deal in D.C. and promising more investment in the U.S.
The Prime Minister went pathetically to the White House to offer a $1 trillion gift, bowing before the President in weakness.
We have the best deal with the Americans, and the third thing that's true is we will get an even better deal because we are...
A source with knowledge of the Oval Office discussion describes it as a very initial conversation to see if President Trump would be interested in reviving the Keystone expansion. Mike LeCouture, CTV News, Ottawa.
A gorgeous fall day outside, and that's where we find our meteorologist, Gary Archibald, joining me tonight for our first look at the weather.
Good evening, Michelle. Good evening, folks. It is gorgeous outside. Just looking to the west, it's clear for the most part. That's been the story throughout much of the afternoon, now into the early evening. A brisk wind is hitting my back. It's coming out of the north. That's a cool air mass. Not much to see across southern Ontario proper. It's not likely to change much in the next 24 to 48 hours. We will be clear, but temperatures do cool as we head towards midnight tonight. There's even a frost risk. I'll break down what you need to know. Temperatures and where we're headed for the long weekend. Happy Thanksgiving in advance. It's all coming up. For now, I'll send it back to you at the desk inside.
All right, thanks so much, Gary. Well, for the second time in less than a week, St. Clair College students and faculty were delayed getting to school as a line of vehicles backed up down Highway 3.
No strikes are like this. It's kind of unfair to us because we have to wait like this.
Students were forced once again to wait at the Highway 3 entrance to the college. Vehicles were held up anywhere from 30 seconds to 2 minutes by picketing support staff represented by OPSU. They've been on strike since September 11th, seeking better wages and language around job security. It was a source of frustration for those waiting to get to class.
I've been waiting for 20-30 minutes in this line, and yeah, I'm like very late to my class. Inside the building, I mean, I haven't really noticed anything. It's been really like the same. Like I just go to my classes, my teachers are all there, you know. That's really it.
October marks National Disability Employment Awareness Month. It's a campaign urging businesses to make hiring more inclusive and accessible for all Canadians. Advocates say breaking down stigma around disability in the workplace isn't just the right thing to do, it's also good for business. CTV's Sanjay Maru has been looking into this for us, and he joins us now with more. Sanjay.
Michelle, it's estimated about 1 in 4 Canadians has a disability, with advocates telling me barriers to employment still remain in almost every sector, from accessibility gaps to outdated assumptions about what people can and cannot do in the workforce. John Aslan says he's attended about 100 job interviews in his lifetime, and he's lost count of how many times an employer's body language and tone shifted when he showed up in a wheelchair.
Sometimes I can almost see them shrink a little bit, like, oh, now I don't even know what I'm supposed to do. How do I approach this? How do I talk to that person?
Disability advocates say it's all part of a lingering stigma, fears over added cost or extra accommodations. And according to Erie Shores Healthcare, those misconceptions are costing qualified people much-needed jobs.
We believe it should be a priority for the region, for the province, for the country. I myself am a woman with a disability. I use a wheelchair full-time, so I do know the challenges of entering the workforce with a disability, but I also intimately know some of the value that you can add to an organization.
That value, advocates say, often comes from a greater work ethic, a drive to prove they're just as capable as anyone else. At Community Living Essex County, the Career Compass program focuses on matching employers with job seekers who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. But officials say getting buy-in from businesses can still be a challenge.
There is a little bit of a stigma when we deal with employers who may just not really be aware of what we do and of what the people that we support are capable of.
Some companies worry about saying the wrong thing or creating an HR problem they just don't want to deal with. But one solution some employers have embraced is what's called job carving.
That's where you would take a job that maybe doesn't actually already exist at a certain location, but it's a need that they have, and we found the right person to fill that need. So it's a win-win all the way around.
Advocates say when employers overlook this kind of flexibility, they also overlook a community eager to prove what it can do.
The fact that we have to work twice as hard or 3 times as hard as the next person to even just get the interview and get the job, we're also going to translate that into the actual work that we're doing for you. So we're going to work harder because we feel like we have to prove our value to you.
And Community Living Essex County adds people they've helped find employment, which they estimate to be in the thousands, tend to take less sick leave than their counterparts, are estimated to be the happiest on staff, and tend to stay at that job far longer than their peers. Michelle.
All right, thanks so much for this report, Sanjay. Sanjay Mara reporting for us this evening. Well, they're being called hidden heroes. 2 physicians at Windsor Regional Hospital are being honored for their compassion, leadership, and unwavering support for organ and tissue donation. CTV's Chris Campbell joins us now with that story. Chris.
That's right, Michelle. 2 doctors are being honored for their dedication to guiding families through some of the most difficult moments imaginable. It's a recognition that not only reflects the hospital's ongoing success, but also the countless lives that have been forever changed because of it. Windsor Regional Hospital is once again being recognized by the Trillium Gift of Life Network, this time receiving top honors for outstanding performance in both organ and tissue donation conversion rates and for sustained excellence over multiple years.
Organ donation is a very complex process, and it requires a great deal of teamwork, compassion, dedication.
Among those honored, ICU physician Dr. Kyle Farini. He's one of 2 local recipients of the Hidden Heroes Award.
It really changes the life of recipients, and the loss of life is always tragic and hard for anyone involved, especially the patients and their families. But it allows to have a small moment of something good coming out of a tragic event.
The hospital supported 11 organ donors last year, resulting in 38 organ transplants and 29 lives saved. There were also 69 tissue donors who helped enhance the lives of countless others.
We sat down with the people here, and they explained it to us that the option was there if we'd like to, and the decision was pretty quick. We decided right then and there that we would do this.
Kevin Johnson Sr. lost his 29-year-old son, Kevin Jr., to addiction in March. He says it was the knowledge that their loss could help others survive.
I was by myself at the time. I was doing things, and I just sat in a car again and bawled. Honest to God, it's just amazing to think that he could save 5 lives. And the fact that his heart, all that he had been through. I mean, we know what he's been through, and I really don't want to go over all that he's been through, but to think that his organs, his heart, save 5 lives is incredible.
Hospital officials say the recognition reflects both the compassion of staff and the courage of families who choose to give the ultimate gift.
Speak to your families about donation, about your wishes around donation. Register your consent, because we know that those who register their consent, when it comes to the time where donation is a possibility, their families are more likely to honor those wishes, and so it's important to speak to your families about that.
Windsor Essex's registration rate for organ donors remains below the provincial average. Anyone who would like to be an organ or tissue donor is encouraged to register their consent online at beadonor.ca. Michelle?
All right, thanks so much for this important story. Chris Campbell reporting for us tonight in the newsroom. And this also takes us to our question of the day. Are you an organ donor? Go to our website to cast your vote, ctvnewswindsor.ca. Yesterday, we asked if you like this idea of the incoming recycling program with one large rolling blue cart. Out of almost 800 votes, 64% say yes, they do like this. We want to hear from you. Do you have an idea for our newscast or a story idea? Shoot us a text at 10400. A heart restarting medical breakthrough in Canada. Still ahead on CTV News at 6. A heart that stopped is revived to save a life. And how are we really doing in Windsor Essex? A new report reveals what matters most to you in the community. And tomorrow, an innovative nurse police team is already making a difference. Now, new funding may expand its impact across Windsor. This story is tomorrow on CTV News at 6. Start your day with the latest local news. By signing up for our newsletter, you'll get direct local content straight from CTV Windsor to your inbox, including top stories, the forecast, and videos. You can sign up at ctvnewswindsor.ca. We have a Canadian first to acknowledge tonight. A Toronto hospital has performed a transplant using a heart that had stopped beating after the donor died. It was later revived and successfully transplanted. It's something that's expected to save even more lives and certainly gives hope to those on the wait list for a donated organ. CTV's Heather Wright on the breakdown and who stands to benefit from this innovation.
Nearly 1 million Canadians are living with heart failure, many waiting for a transplant that may never come.
Many of them never make it to actually get that good news, that phone call that we found a heart for you. So this will provide hope for them that there will be a heart.
That hope is care of a new procedure Dr. Syed Ali Reza Rabi performed in early September at Toronto General Hospital. A heart transplant from a donor whose heart had stopped beating. The first time this cutting-edge procedure has been performed in Canada.
The heart is warm, meaning that it's not cooled to protect it, and it is not getting oxygen or nutrients. So this is a vulnerable time for heart. So we have to take that heart out and through special techniques, preserve it, bring it back, and put it in the person and hope that the heart starts beating.
Typically, heart donations come from people who are brain dead, but oxygen is still circulating in the body and their organs are still functioning. This procedure, first pioneered in Australia a decade ago, will open the pool of possible donors, and early data suggests the outcomes are similar.
And it looks like there is no difference between the outcome of the hearts of people who've received hearts from a traditional brain-dead donor versus circulatory dead donor.
Right now, who is eligible for this procedure depends on where they live, as doctors don't want the donated heart to be outside of the body for more than an hour. But there is hope as new technology becomes available. Hearts will be able to travel anywhere in Canada, saving many more lives. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
As the fate of Marineland's 30 remaining beluga whales hangs in the balance, the shuttered theme park is pushing back against one of the proposals to relocate the animals. Marineland has been in the headlines since last week when the federal government blocked its request to send the whales to an aquarium in China. The park responded with a request for emergency funding, saying they didn't have enough money to feed the belugas and may have no choice but to euthanize them. Fisheries Minister Joanne Thompson has said she'd like to see the whales sent to a sanctuary. Marineland argues no such destination is available for 30 belugas, including a paused project in Nova Scotia. The union representing 55,000 striking Canada Post workers will meet tonight with the federal minister in charge of the Crown Corporation. You'll recall back on September 25th, Procurement Minister Joelle Lightbound announced changes to Canada Post's mandate. They would allow for no more daily mail delivery, the expansion of community mailboxes, and the closure of some rural post offices. Canada Post welcomed the changes and then tabled a new contract offer as a result. But the union is accusing Ottawa of trampling on collective bargaining rights. As we've reported, as a result of all of that, about 55,000 workers went back to the picket line. They've been on the picket lines now for nearly 2 weeks. Well, how are we really doing in Windsor Essex? The 2025 Vital Signs report by the Windsor Essex Community Foundation paints a picture of a region that overall believes life here is okay, but there are some key areas for improvement. Now in its 12th year, the report identifies key priorities like expanding social programs for at-risk individuals, improving workforce skills, and helping people feel more connected and included. Survey results show 55% of people see housing affordability as a top concern. When it comes to health, respondents were split, with 40% calling for better mental health services and another 40% pointing to better access to all healthcare professionals. There is some good news here. 81% of people who responded say they're happy in life always or most of the time. And when asked about arts and culture in the region, over 60% feel we're making solid progress. Fresh off taking over possession of the battery plant, NextStar is announcing another achievement today. 1,000 people have now been hired to work here. The employee is a recent grad of St. Clair College hired as a quality inspector. 34 new people are in the process right now of onboarding to work at NextStar. The company began hiring in 2023, and officials maintain they are on track to ramp up electrode and cell production in the coming months. Former fashion mogul Peter Nygard has had his criminal case in Winnipeg suspended. A judge stayed the charges against the 84-year-old. It has to do with an alleged sex assault in Manitoba. Nygard is already in prison on previous convictions. CTV's Alex Karpa on today's decision and what it means for Nygard.
A judge found that Peter Nygard's right to a fair trial was violated by police who failed to retain records related to allegations dating back over 3 decades. Nygard was charged back in 2023 after a woman came forward claiming she was sexually assaulted by Nygard in a warehouse in Winnipeg in 1993. About a week after the alleged assault, the complainant spoke with RCMP at her home in Vancouver, giving them a statement, but court documents say she didn't want to press charges. In 2020, she decided to come forward and Winnipeg police launched an investigation. The lawyer for the 84-year-old former fashion mogul filed a motion last month to stay the charges, arguing that police failed to keep records of the complainant's first interaction with officers, undercutting Nygard's right to a fair trial. Court was told, given the passage of time, this evidence was likely lost or purged from police data systems. After reviewing the evidence, the judge agreed that Nygard's right to a fair trial has been, quote, substantially prejudiced, and goes on to say, I'm satisfied that this is one of the clearest of cases warranting a stay of proceedings.
This is a very good decision overall. Irrespective of what you think about the Nygard case, this is important for the integrity of our system.
Nygard is already serving an 11-year prison sentence for 4 counts of sexual assault in Ontario. He also faces sex charges in Quebec and faces extradition to the United States for sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Alex Karpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A bold symbol of public art created by a Canadian has towered over a plaza in San Francisco for decades. CTV's Geneviève Beauchemin spoke to the sculptor on the fight now to preserve a piece of history.
Armand Vaillancourt's archives are a treasure trove.
1997.
Filled with stories of the colorful Quebec artist's life of creativity and controversy lived on the world stage.
I did 3 times. The Times magazine, yeah.
But now at the age of 96, one file is always on his mind.
It has been a witness.
He's fighting to save the monumental Vaillancourt fountain, unveiled in 1971 in San Francisco, now slated for potential demolition.
I'm not there to please nobody.
The fountain, a brutalist work of art, has long divided onlookers and city officials. Vaillancourt's support of Indigenous protesters in the late 1960s sparked controversy, and he was left off the fountain inauguration guest list, but he showed up anyway.
He entered the water and wrote Québec Libre on his own work.
In 1987, U2's Bono graffitied the structure during a concert, and the fountain survived the devastating 1989 earthquake, becoming a cultural landmark and also a skateboarding mecca, featured in a Tony Hawk video game, and that lends its name to a Nike shoe. Now, San Francisco's Art Commission says it's a structurally unsound, hazardous structure which would require multi-million-dollar renovation in order to bring the fountain up to current health and safety standards. Vaillancourt, his son Alexis, and supporters in the arts world dispute the assessment, calling it political, but also say the fountain is worth saving.
If you erase a kind of monument like that, you erase a part of the history.
What is the strongest argument that you made to keep the fountain?
It deserved to have a long life again.
There was a public meeting in San Francisco last night where there were a lot of comments about the fountain, but the final decision has yet to be made, according to the city. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
The Nobel Prize in Chemistry has been awarded to 3 scientists for their work in the development of metal organic frameworks that dates back to 1989. The scientists hail from Japan, Australia, and California. The Nobel Committee said their discovery can be used to harvest water from desert air, capture carbon dioxide, and store toxic gases. Some Canadian renters looking for a place to live are seeing the lowest prices in nearly 4 years. The average asking rent in Windsor is down 6.5% compared to the previous year, and the vacancy rate is sitting at just over 3%. The average rent is also down in all of Canada's 6 largest cities, led by Vancouver with an 8.2% drop from last year. In Toronto, the decrease is smaller at just under 3%. Calgary's average rent dropped by more than 7%. Urban Nation says it's the result of new rental supply outpacing demand. Canada's main stock index was up, boosted by strength in the base metal and technology sectors. In Toronto, the TSX gained 150 points, while in New York, the Dow lost a point, but the NASDAQ added 255. The Canadian dollar fell just 1/100th of a cent today. And on commodity markets, gold gained $66 an ounce. Oil added 82 cents a barrel. A 78-year-old man is running to save his granddaughter from Lyme disease. This story of love and determination when we return.
Let's look at our CTV News weather snapshot. Thanks to Diane Bedard for this image. Looks like the birds of prey are active in this late fall season, no doubt. Could we see cool temperatures but still sunny weather through the weekend? We'll find out next on CTV News Windsor.
Discussion here at Windsor City Hall.
Windsor's top stories.
A major project is about to get underway.
Breaking news alerts.
Severe weather is a possibility.
And watch live.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us.
Download the CTV News app.
A stunning autumn day out there today. Let's check in now on the weather. CTV meteorologist Gary Archibald joins me with our extended look. Hi, Gary.
Hi, Michelle. Yes, indeed, you're right. It's been beautiful, clear, crisp, and seasonal. Yes, the temperatures have taken a nosedive to where we would expect them to be at this time of the year, but still 17 on the nose. Average 17.5. Technically, we were slightly below seasonal, both in terms of the high and low. By the way, the low this morning was 7.6 degrees Celsius. Our average is 7.7. The low on the AQI is a good sign. That means the air quality was considered decent, acceptable. And 16 degrees, that's what we're hovering at with mostly clear conditions. As we head towards dusk, we'll drop to about 16, maybe 15 degrees in Windsor, Essex, and the surrounds. Some areas in Chatham County a bit warmer, close to the 17 at the airport in Windsor. We've noticed it's been a breezy day, and that cool air coming from the northeast has helped us to keep comfortable. A surge of warmth is certainly protruding into the southern prairies, up to 22 in Regina, for example. We will get down to maybe 7 or 8 degrees by midnight. And these winds that we've been seeing, gusting to about 30 km in Chatham-Kent. We've been higher in Windsor, looking at about 20 to 30 is possible, and still looking at some gustier winds a little bit further to the northwest of us. Lake Huron shores, by the way, which I think are going to build into our forecast tomorrow. More about the winds in a moment. Clear night setting up. That's good news. So over the next 24 hours, mostly clear, just fair weather cloud if we see it at all. There's the front moving through northwestern Ontario into northern Lake Huron shores, and those winds could be quite gusty as we head towards Friday. But I believe Thursday's a mostly sunny affair. Before we get there, though, 8 o'clock, 12 degrees Celsius, a northerly wind sustained at 20 kilometers per hour, gusts to 40, 9 degrees and still clear at 10. By midnight, 7 or 6 degrees Celsius, and the winds have died down, about 5 to 10 km out of the northeast. Tomorrow, mostly sunny, a high of 16. Then we're looking at a low of about 6 degrees early Friday morning. The high of 19. Showers possible on a cloudy weekend, 19 and 20 Saturday, Sunday. Happy Thanksgiving. Looking at 21. Fair and fair Tuesday, Wednesday with mostly sunny conditions for both days. Let's look at your Enercare 7-day forecast.
Lifetime, brought to you by Safeguard Medical Alert Systems.
Ontario hospitals say they need an additional $1 billion this year to keep pace with population growth and inflation. The Ontario Hospital Association says they have a collective deficit of $360 million last year, and they face more pressures this year. The OMA says the $1.1 billion the provincial government announced for hospitals in the spring budget is just half of what they need to meet complex financial and operational challenges. Treatment for Lyme disease is expensive and much of it not covered by OHIP. CTV's Pauline Chan introduces us now to a grandfather who is running to raise money to help his sick granddaughter.
Richard Nancaro has always been there to support his grandkids, so his recent $10K fundraiser was no surprise.
It's right up his alley to do something like that, but I'm really grateful.
Molly needs special treatments that are not covered by OHIP, so I'm trying to raise $5,000 or $6,000 or more by having this run and inviting people from my apartment complex.
Molly spends most of her days in bed, debilitated by Lyme disease.
We're not exactly aware of when a tick would have embedded in my skin.
The one time she ever saw a tick on her was 15 years ago, but she didn't develop the flu-like symptoms and extreme fatigue until 2 years ago as she was starting her nursing career.
It's been 2 years of seeing every specialist that we could see. She takes, I think, 40 supplements a day. She's had to do injections, IV therapies, lots of different medical appointments.
Mom Karen Nancaro says IV infusions have been the most helpful.
And the treatment can cost up to $500,000 outside of Canada. So we're doing whatever we can here. None of that is covered by OHIP.
Molly says Canadians often hear about acute Lyme disease, the bullseye rash, and getting treatment within 3 days of a tick bite.
Chronic or late-stage Lyme diseases, and it's basically a completely different disease. It can't be treated with just the 2 weeks of antibiotics. It's a lot more of an intense treatment.
As for her nursing career,
I do hope to get back to it, and I hope that I don't know, my understanding of being kind of on the other side of it and being a patient can make me a better nurse.
Recovery is slow, but Molly has her family by her side, with Richard planning more runs in the future. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Winning on the field and in Windsor. Coming up on CTV News at 6, why some fans will soon be giving thanks to the Detroit Lions.
5K a day is back on 93.9
Virgin Radio.
Listen to Hannah and Johnny in the morning for your chance to win $5,000
Every weekday.
5K a day.
Virgin Radio.
From the gridiron to the diamond and the rink, Bob Belichico joins us now with more on the sidelines.
Back for more. We're talking big block party. The city's closing off the streets of Olette to throw a big block party thanks to the Detroit Lions. Guess who's in town, Michelle? Your Green Bay Packers coming to the Motor City for Thanksgiving. I'll call it Redemption Day. Why don't we do that? The city's shutting down Olette Avenue between University and Park Street November 27th. For a Lions watch party. Now, the festivities start at 10 a.m. Fans can catch the game on a large screen. Jody Rafool, our guy, will be performing after the game. The event will be Windsor's first ever open carry event, which means fans can walk around with their chosen pops.
We do have records of the number of season ticket members we refer to as our Lions loyal members that are here in Windsor and how many attend our games. We don't typically share that data, but we know that it's huge and we know that it's growing. And that's part of the reason that we're coming here and want to be sure to say thanks and continue to foster that love of the Lions in Windsor.
Nice to see they're here. Now, you know, winning Coach of the Year once is kind of a big feather in anyone's cap. Winning twice, very humbling. But what about 3 times? Well, Kevin Corvo has been named the OCAA Coach of the Year, Golf Coach of the Year for a 3rd straight year. He guided St. Clair College men's and women's golf teams to a silver medal at the provincial championships a week ago. Corvo was shocked by the news when we talked about it over the weekend, and he will be the league's nominee for National Coach of the Year. Now, the Saints are off to Medicine Hat for the Nationals starting Sunday.
I have amazing players. I have assistant coaches. I didn't hit a single shot. And I'm just happy for everybody that it happened. You don't expect it. You don't think about it. But it happened, and I'm happy for the college. I'm happy for our team. I'm just blessed, honestly.
So humble there. All right, Bob, let's talk hockey. The Spits back in action on Thursday, looking to get back on the win side.
Yeah, you know, they weren't going to win every one, but they got to lose once in a while, right?
True.
So they have Guelph tomorrow at the WFCU Center. Spits lost their first game of the season last weekend at Owen Sound. It was a good learning lesson for the team, really, because, you know, like I said, they weren't going to win every game this season. Now, the Spits are happy to welcome their captain back. Liam Greentree had a goal called back in his return last Thursday against Niagara. It's too bad, too, because I was pumped to see him score more than one anyway. But he got on the board on the road last weekend. He told me he learned a lot while he was at camp with the LA Kings, which will make him a stronger player and a bigger leader for the Spits.
So it's super cool to be a part of, you know, an organization like LA, and I think, you know, they treat me so well, and you know, just being out there and just kind of learning from the guys who have been there for years now is something pretty cool. So I think for me, it's just bringing that experience back to Windsor, and you know, obviously trying to win a championship.
Now, a lot of us know Corey Bellemore as the beer mile record holder. He is the beer mile king, really, with multitudes of wins. Now, he's taking a run at being a triathlete. And now, after years of encouragement, Bellemore tried it and qualified for his pro card in his first attempt. But he was smart. He waited to be certified as a pro. He wanted to have a little more events under his belt before competing against the big guns of triathlons, including Harrow's Lionel Sanders. Now, Bellemore has competed for years and gone to the Olympic trials. He tells me he wants to compete with the best in the sport.
I just have to be, it's a 4-hour race at the end of the day, so you can't really rush the process. I can't go tomorrow and train like 30 hours a week. You kind of got to, every year or every couple months, increase the workload, and then you don't want to get injured. So it's just, you can stay healthy, keep increasing the workload, turn the dials little by little. That's how you get better, and I'm willing to work.
Yeah, Corey Bellemore certainly is willing to work. All right, Bob, he's amazing. I feel like we can't overlook baseball. 'Tis the season, as they say.
Well, I don't know. I think I might become a Jays fan, the way they've been playing. But last night wasn't a great night.
Well, it was, and then it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But, yeah, it started off strong, though. I'll tell you that much. Let's go to the highlights here. Vlad Jr. with a 2-run blast last night against the Yankees. They were cruising with a 6-1. Oh. That's Vlad Jr. with a 2-run blast last night. They were cruising with a 6-1 lead in the third. Then the bottom falls out. The judge with the boom. 3-run shot off the pole to tie the game. Then Chaz Chisholm with the winner. Yep, you know, that one's gone. Like, not even a question. Michelle, no sweep. Game 4 tonight in New York.
That's all right. You know, it was looking so good, and you have to... I know I was really nervous about it because they went out so hard at the start, and I thought they can't hold on to that. But
6-1.
Yeah. Yeah, that's tough to come back from. But I believe they can do it.
I think so, too.
I got to ask before we run out of time here, we're not talking about Saints. Are the Saints football team, are they playing this week?
They're hosting a playoff game Saturday at Acumen Stadium, 1 o'clock, I've been told. So
amazing. Good luck. Go Saints.
Go Saints.
Thanks, Bob.
You got it.
Would you text your ex for $10,000? 89X is back. Listen for the keywords and text your ex. It's never been more rewarding to get back with your ex. Only on Windsor's Alternative, 89X.
This is your CTV Windsor, our community calendar. You're invited to the Do Good Divas annual A Girls' Night Out in Handbag Heaven. Proceeds benefit the Habitat for Humanity, Windsor Essex. See you next time on Our Community.
All right, it's time to check in on what's happening now with Melanie Kentner. Melanie, you have more for us on the inclusive hiring practices at Erie Shores Healthcare.
That's right. The hospital says there are a lot of myths when it comes to hiring people with disabilities. Officials say one of those is the cost it takes for integration. It's about $300 for most people entering the workforce with a disability and needing an accommodation. They say for a lot of people, it's less than that. And there are several things the money might be used for.
It could go towards some type of screen reading software that allows you to use the computer just as your peers would. And that would be for people maybe with vision loss, hearing loss. It would be some type of tactile experience that relays when sounds are happening, like emergency pages. For me, it was nothing to hire me with a mobility disability.
We've got details about National Disability Employment Awareness Month at ctvnewswindsor.ca.
And we've also got an online story, Melanie, about upgrades coming to Micmac Park.
Yes, Father Cullen Baseball Stadium will look a little different next spring. Work is underway to remove the existing backstop, improve the netting system, and restore the field. The diamond will be closed during this work, but the other amenities in the park will remain open to the public. This project is expected to be complete in April 2026. You can find more details on the work on our website. And in our social spotlight, these grandparents pick up the kids in style. Yeah, with a golf cart. They live on a family compound, and when the kids go for a sleepover, this is how they roll up. Gotta love the balloons, the fake champagne, and of course they got some cookies in there too.
Oh, my favorite part there is that there's fake champagne to celebrate the end of school. I love it. What a great video, Melanie.
Yeah, that's gonna be a memory for years for them, I think.
Yeah, for sure, especially now that it's gone out there into the social media world. And speaking of which, we're making it easier for viewers or listeners to submit a video like that for your trending segment.
Yeah, you can email it to newsnow@bellmedia.ca or text it to us at 10400.
Forget flowers, this tree is blooming bow ties and joy. The story behind this tree when we return.
The latest news to start your day.
Interviews, conversations with the top officials, the difference makers, and personalities in Windsor Essex.
Only on Windsor Essex #1 morning show.
It's Mornings with Mike and Meg on AM 800.
There's a reason why so many people like this time of year for the changing of the fall colors.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah, it's my favorite. I agree with you, Michelle. We'll see more of that brilliant sunshine, the beautiful blue skies of late. Ridge of high pressure takes over. It's in place now. We are cooler. Single digits, by the way, for lows. 4 followed by 6, the lows Thursday early in the morning before dawn, and again Friday. Mostly sunny tomorrow, a bit windy through the midday. Sunny on Friday, 19. So from 16 tomorrow, 19 on Friday. The weekends, 19 and 20, Saturday, Sunday. Both days cloudy, about a 30 to 40% chance both days. We'll see showers, but Thanksgiving, 21, fair. Tuesday, Wednesday, more sunshine, 21 and 21. Our average high is 17. So we're technically above the norm.
Perhaps it's a silly question, but do we need those really low lows overnight for the trees to do that great change?
We do need cooler temperatures, and the chlorophyll, that green pigment, if you will, starts to shut down. And that's when that chemical metamorphosis starts.
I knew
to take
you would
place.
know the answer to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you.
Well, speaking of trees and leaves, a tree in Victoria is not losing leaves this fall. It's growing ties instead. As CTV's Adam Sawatsky reports, it's a simple idea that has now turned into a community tradition.
Over and under.
When it comes to tying ties,
Once you do this a couple of thousand times,
Bob Lamb doesn't really need a mirror.
you can do it in your sleep.
He first learned when he was little and mastered it after becoming a banker.
Wore a tie every day I worked for 60-odd years.
Bob also wore a tie that day he married his wife, Marnie.
He had to fit into a very conservative business role, but he was secretly a bit of a rebel.
When he wasn't conspiring with his co-workers to wear bow ties every Thursday, which earned him a nickname,
Bob, bow tie Bob.
Bob was running the Boston Marathon in a suit and tie.
You can do it the hard way or you can do it the fun way.
When Bob retired, he gifted or donated many of the more than 50 ties he no longer needed, until a flowering tree that was pruned too hard
left them with a bunch of bare branches.
So Bob came up with the idea of let's hang a few ties on it, and then it just kind of blossomed from there.
Although there were few floral print ties in Bob's remaining collection, he and Marnie ensured the tree proliferated with plaids and paisleys and bloomed with bow ties all year round.
So the ties brought it back to life.
But then, thanks to strangers walking by, the tie tree took on a life of its own.
And all of a sudden, ties were appearing. People would stop by, and I would encourage, just add to the collection.
They've ranged from other seniors celebrating retirement to a private school student marking her graduation.
It's been a source of joy just for us, but also people walking by. So I think the tree's happy.
And like this one tie Bob has kept, featuring the lyrics to John Lennon's Imagine, he hopes that all the people will someday join him.
To just share the love and the joy
and realize that while some may see a tie as constricting, it can also blossom into something uniting. Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
All right, Gary, so how many ties do you have? Would you be able to fill a tree with your ties?
I do have quite a few. I do like
good.
the ties and the
pocket square.
Pocket square
I do.
combination.
I like
yes.
the pocket square.
Thank you.
That's great.
I appreciate
All right,
that.
thanks so much. And on behalf of the entire team here at CTV News Windsor, thank you so much for watching.
For updates throughout the evening, go to ctvnewswindsor.ca.
We'll be back with your only late local newscast tonight at 11.
See you then.